The rain was merciless that evening, heavy, cold, and endless, beating down on the cracked streets of a small industrial town where dreams rusted faster than the old cars parked along the roadside. Amid the storm, a young man named Arif crouched under a flickering streetlight, drenched to the bone, his trembling hands working desperately beneath the hood of a broken-down car. His fingers were numb, his breath visible in the cold air, and his clothes clung to him like a second skin soaked in struggle. He was just a poor mechanic's son, a boy whose life revolved around grease, gears, and the smell of burning oil. But tonight, fate had parked something extraordinary in front of him, a sleek black car belonging to a woman whose world was far beyond his reach, a world of wealth, glass towers, and power. And yet, in that moment, under that unrelenting rain, their two worlds collided. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of one good deed to change a life forever, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to StoryNest, because what happens next will remind you why humanity still matters. Arif had been on his way home from the small workshop where he worked with his father. His father, once a respected mechanic, had grown weak after years of hard labor, leaving Arif to shoulder their debts and dreams alone. The rain had turned the narrow streets into rivers, and as he crossed the old bridge, he noticed the car, a luxurious black Mercedes, stranded at the side. The headlights flickered weakly, and beside it stood a woman, drenched, visibly shivering but trying to stay composed. Arif hesitated for a second. Someone like her would never trust someone like him. But something inside him, a voice shaped by his father's lessons, whispered, "Never walk away when someone needs help, no matter who they are." He approached slowly, almost apologetically, and asked if she needed help. The woman, whose name was Maya Varma, was the CEO of a rising tech firm. She had just finished a crucial investor meeting and was heading back to the city when her car gave up in the middle of nowhere. Her driver had left for an emergency, and her phone was dying. She was stranded, alone, and frustrated. Arif offered to take a look. Without tools, without proper lighting, he worked with what he had, an old wrench, a few screws, and sheer willpower. The rain stung his eyes, and his hand slipped over the cold metal, but he refused to stop. Maya watched silently from a distance, her expression softening as she realized the boy wasn't doing it for money or praise, he was doing it because he cared. The storm grew fiercer. Thunder rolled across the sky, but under the weak glow of the streetlight, Arif finally managed to bring the engine back to life. When the car roared softly, Maya couldn't help but smile, not out of relief, but admiration. Her expensive suit was drenched, her hair plastered to her face, but she felt a strange warmth watching this boy, this stranger who gave everything he had without expecting anything in return. When she offered him money, he shook his head. "No, ma'am," he said quietly. "I just wanted to help. My father says the world runs smoother when we oil it with kindness." Then he walked away into the rain, his silhouette fading like a forgotten hero. That night, Maya couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about that boy, his sincerity, his humility, his quiet dignity despite his worn-out clothes. She, who lived in a world where everything had a price tag, couldn't stop thinking about someone who helped without asking for one. The next morning, she made a decision that even surprised her. She asked her assistant to find him. But in a city full of noise, finding one silent soul wasn't easy. Meanwhile, Arif returned to his small home, a leaky room behind the workshop, where his father coughed weakly on the cot. Life was a cycle of struggle for them, unpaid rent, hospital bills, and endless work that paid barely enough to survive. Yet Arif never complained. He believed that even if the world didn't see him, God did. For days, he continued fixing bikes and old cars, not knowing that someone from a completely different world was searching for him. 2 weeks later, fate reunited them in the most unexpected way. Maya was driving past the same area with her chauffeur when she saw Arif again, this time kneeling beside a broken scooter, helping a child fix it. She asked the driver to stop. When Arif looked up and recognized her, he smiled, the same honest smile that had stayed in her mind for nights. Maya stepped out, walked toward him, and said, "I've been looking for you." Arif was stunned. He wiped his hands nervously, unsure what to say. Maya told him that she hadn't forgotten his kindness and wanted to repay it, not with money, but with an opportunity. She asked him about his dreams, and for the first time, someone actually listened when Arif said, "I want to study engineering. I want to build cars that don't break down like the ones I fix." His father had always wanted that for him, but poverty had chained his dreams. Maya saw a spark in his eyes that reminded her of her younger self, hungry for success but shackled by circumstance. Without hesitation, she offered to sponsor his education and a position at her company's auto design department. Arif was speechless. No one had ever believed in him this way before. He accepted with tears in his eyes, promising her that her faith wouldn't go to waste. What followed was a transformation, not just for Arif, but for both of them. Under Maya's mentorship, Arif blossomed. He studied late into the night, learned tirelessly, and soon started designing innovative car models that impressed even the top engineers. Maya often found herself amazed, not just by his talent, but by his humility. He never forgot where he came from. He still visited his father's old workshop on weekends, repairing free for the poor, just like before. Maya, too, changed. Through Arif, she rediscovered a part of herself she'd buried under years of ambition, the part that believed in goodness, in people, in simple human connection. They became more than just a CEO and an employee, they became two souls who had unknowingly rescued each other from different kinds of storms. She had saved him from poverty, and he had saved her from emotional emptiness. Years later, when Arif launched his first electric car model, he insisted on naming it Rainlight, because that night in the rain had brought light into both their lives. The launch event was emotional. Maya sat in the front row, her eyes glistening with pride as Arif gave his speech. "People often say fate meets you in strange places," he said. "For me, it met me on a rainy road when I chose kindness over convenience. That one act changed everything." The audience erupted in applause, but what moved Maya the most was when Arif turned to her and said softly, "Thank you for believing in a mechanic's son." After the event, as they stood together watching the rain fall outside the glass hall, Maya smiled and said, "Maybe we both fixed something that day, your car, and my heart." Arif laughed quietly, but there were tears in his eyes. Because he knew she was right. If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to StoryNest, and help us spread the message that kindness can change lives in ways we never expect. Before we end, tell us in the comments below, what's the one act of kindness that changed your life forever? And as the rain kept falling that night, somewhere in the city, a poor mechanic's son and a powerful CEO stood under the same umbrella, two lives forever changed by one small moment of compassion that no storm could ever wash away.